Practice Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025. Starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Community King YAHANNA.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. And no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King YAHANNA, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. SHALAM. Out of I.S.U.P.K, Jamaica, under command in General YAHANNA, I say Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Barakatham to my brothers, Yahweh Shama Ilathan Ba'asham Yahweh to my sisters. All right, so tonight, you know what I mean, we are on the topic of the Most High's holy days, which are very important. You understand? And why don't Christianity celebrate none of the holy days in the Bible? This is a very serious question. You know what I mean? I know for most people, they, you know what I mean, because of the miseducation of Christianity, being inside of the Christian church for years, you know what I mean, sitting down, hearing that pastor speak, you never really learn the Bible. You're never really encouraged to read the Bible. You know what I mean? Most. Then you're not encouraged to go through the scriptures and read and study to show thyself approved, like what the scripture says. You understand? So when I mention the Most High holy days now, it's, you know what I mean, it might fly over some people's head. Some people might say, what are you talking about? I've never heard about that. You understand? Well, there are holy days in the Bible commanded by the Most High that, you know what I mean, we should keep. You understand? And keep forever and never stop keeping. You understand? But you never hear about them in the Christian church. And why is that? Why is this the situation? Why is it that Christianity celebrates every holiday that this world push, but none of the Most High's holy day? There have to be an agenda. And to some people who have been in the church for a long while, you know what I mean, they just this to them sound like, you know what I mean, trivial matter, like it's not important as long as you accept Jesus, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, God know my heart and all them things there, you know what I mean, because of the brainwash of the Bible, you know what I mean, they don't really want to hear this what we are talking about, which is very important, very, very important, especially now that we all know who we are as a people, like it's no more a secret. You understand? No blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians understand how they relate to the Bible. Where they, you know what I mean? Where in the Bible they are positioned, for lack of a better way of saying it. We know now that we are the ones that wrote this Bible. The slaves, the people who were enslaved over here in the West, who was forced to join Christianity, were the actual owners of the Bible. I'm going to say owners, I mean owners of the scriptures, because before it became the Bible, it was the Hebrew records, or the records of the children of Israel. You understand? From Genesis to Revelation. You understand? Every last book inside of the Bible were written by the Israelites. You understand? But what happened was the Israelites were enslaved by the very people who gave us Christianity. This should all start adding up to you now. So we wrote this book. We were the ones who followed this book. As I say, it wasn't in book form. These were scrolls. Each book in the Bible were scrolls or records recorded throughout our history within a particular time in history. You understand? We were the ones who wrote it. We were the ones that got the instructions from the Most High to write these scriptures. You understand? We were the ones that followed it. You understand? No, we were enslaved, captured by our enemies. And our enemies are now telling us that, no, this is how you do it, not that way. And of course, slavery, you know what I mean, with them erasing our culture. No, we not even know that we are the children of Israel. If it wasn't for the I.S.U.P.K and the commanding general, YAHANNA, you know what I mean, we would even, you know what I mean, imagine that we were these people inside of the Bible. It wouldn't even cross most of us mind. But when we start bringing out the facts and the information now, it starts clicking. It's almost like you're waking up from a dream. It's almost like you're waking up from a matrix. You know, you're seeing the world for what it is. No, you're seeing that, wait. No, this is the reason why we go through what we go through. Why our oppression is constant. You know what I mean? Why our oppression seems deliberate, but we just can't put our finger on it. Why? Why is this oppressor so racist against us? Why is our people always oppressed? No, it makes sense. It all makes sense now. You understand? And this institution given to us by our oppressor is one of the tools that oppress us. You understand? It's one of the major tools. So why is it that the holy days in the Bible are not celebrated by the religion that claims to uphold the Bible, but they celebrate every holiday that the society push? And when you check the history of these holidays, they are embedded in pagan customs that are against the God of the Bible. Now, what are these holidays that, you know what I mean, Christianity promotes? Let's start with the first one. You have New Year's, which is the worship of Janus. You have birthdays, which is also the worship of Janus, the God of beginning. Then you have Valentine's Day, which is the worship of, you know what I mean, Cupid, and what's the name of that God? I'm missing his name right now, but he's the God of desires, you know what I mean, and mischief that destroys relationships, you know what I mean, but then paint it as if Cupid is this God of, you know what I mean, love, where him shoot you with him arrow, you know what I mean, him make you fall in love, when his origin was different. It was the opposite and caused chaos. That's why I guess so much chaos is in all of your, you know what I mean, our people's relationship, because we celebrate Valentine's Day. You understand? Which one you have next? You have Easter, the worship of the Queen of Heaven, the so-called Queen of Heaven, or Ishtar, Semiramis, or Semiramis. You understand? She was the mother of Nimrod. Who is Nimrod? The father of Christmas. All of them link. All of them are come from one source, one people, and that is the oppressor. And what he scrape and, you know what I mean, dig up from ancient customs before him. You know what I mean? Why the oppressor, why Christianity, Slovakia, celebrate these and not the Passover, for example, which is in the Bible, that the Most High told us to celebrate forever. Let me find that. Zane, why not the Passover? This is Exodus. Let me start at, you know what I mean? Let me start at verse. This is Exodus chapter 12. Let me start at verse 11. And it said, and thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Right? So this was when the Most High was destroying Egypt, and he was about to give Egypt the last blow, which is the unalivement of the Egyptians' firstborn. You understand? And he's preparing Israel to now leave Egypt in haste. And what he told us was that we should unalive a lamb, you know what I mean? A lamb for every household, put the blood of the lamb on the doorposts and the lintel, so that when the death angel pass through, he will pass over us. That is where the word Passover come from. And this death angel will go into the house of all the Egyptians and unalive their firstborn. And this same lamb, we were supposed to prepare it and eat it. You understand? And then gird our loins and prepare to leave. See? Because now the Most High is setting us free out of slavery in Egypt, in Africa. We were enslaved in Africa. See? And it continues. It said, and I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both men and beasts, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Right? So, he's preparing us for the Passover. Verse 13, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the house where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. See? Verse 14, and this shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. You understand? Forever. When does forever finish? We will keep the Passover even in the kingdom of heaven. That is how long forever is. You understand? The Passover is the Most High's most important holy day, because that is when he freed us from our enemies and made us into a nation. That is the most important. That is like the, you know what I mean, like the Americans' Declaration of Independence. You understand? That is the most important holy day. But why do you know what I mean? Why don't the Christian church celebrate it? It's a question. Well, we will go straight into it now. We are going to the history, Zane, of why this was changed. I'm going to show you the history of Christianity. I'll show you that our people celebrate worshiping in this religion called Christianity is you worshiping the thing that enslaved the people. Christianity enslaved blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You understand? Christianity enslaved us. We know that, yeah, the white man enslaved us. But the way I call it now, the institution of power of the white man, of the oppressor, that sanctioned our slavery was Christianity. See, now we celebrate Christianity and worship in the church as if we're worshiping to God. And we're singing to God, and we're clapping to God, and we're dancing to God. But Christianity was the doctrine that said that it was okay to enslave you. Christianity was the authority that gave the order to go and enslave these people. An order was given, and it was coming from the Christian church. You don't know what you're doing when you celebrate Christianity. You understand? You are being deceived. You think you are celebrating the Most High and worshiping the Most High. You are only being deceived by the institution that enslaved you. Let me read this. See? This says history of the abolition of the Passover of the New Covenant from the early church to the Council of Nicaea in AD 325. Many of you might hear about the Council of Nicaea, and ignorant people who don't know the history claim that the Bible was written in the Council of Nicaea. That is ignorant. What the Council of Nicaea did, you know what I mean? The purpose of the Council of Nicaea was to change up all the ordinance that was already set by the Most High. You understand? Like this one, may I show you? From the Passover, now becomes what? Easter. We're going to show you. See? From the Sabbath being the 7th day to now being the first day. These were the things, the doctrine of Christianity was now, you know what I mean, in effect through the Council of Nicaea, because their intention was not to serve the God of these scriptures, the God of the quote-unquote Bible. These Romans, you know what I mean, were not God's people. Christianity was created by the Romans. The Romans were the ones that analyzed the way they call it now, the main, way they call it now, the main man in the Bible, which is Christ, under the Most High. See? The Romans analyze him. Christians analyze him. And when we say Christians, of course, Christianity was created after the death of Christ, but by the people who put him on the cross, cut open his side, and nail him and put the crown of thorns on him head. They were the ones who create Christianity. So how is it now you are following their customs? It don't make no sense. To be a Christian is to be a traitor the most time. No say, all right, you're going to say, well, Christian mean follower of Christ. But the word Christian, Zin, which, by the way, the word Christian was used as a derogatory term. These were other people calling the followers of Christ Christian. It's almost like calling them Marxists. It was a derogatory term. But nevertheless, Zin, being a Christian and being in Christianity is two different things, because Christ did nothing where you see a go on in a Christianity. Christianity had to come something completely different from what Christ was doing. And you can clearly see it. Only a lazy, you know what I mean, and slothful person would ignore that fact. A person who is not sincere about serving the Most High. A hypocrite. You understand? Would not clearly see that what Christianity stands for is nothing that what Christ stands for. See? So Christ, the one that we all should follow, was analyzed by the people who created Christianity. and you are now in Christianity claiming to serve Christ? I mean, 1 + 1, it equal 2, you know. It can't equal 3 and it can't equal 4. No care how you want it to. If the people who unalive Jesus is the one that you are learning to serve him, you know what I mean, from, you're way off the mark. You understand? Let me continue reading this. So it said, many people today claim to believe in Jesus Christ, but we can hardly find any Christians who kept the Passover. Why is this important where Jesus is concerned? Why? Because Jesus kept the Passover. It is recorded in the New Testament. And he commanded you to keep the Passover in remembrance of him. So we're going to read that. See? It said, but we can hardly find any Christians who keep the Passover of the new covenant that Jesus established through his blood. It is because the Passover was abolished at the Council of Nicaea, AD 325. So that is almost what? That is 1700 years ago. Before you were born. You see, history is very important, you know, and what we understand about brothers and sisters in the Christian church, they think that you can just forget about history. But history is very important. If you don't know where something come from, all you know say it is right. You understand? The Passover was replaced in the Council of Nicaea in AD 325, the year 325. That is the reason why you don't celebrate the Passover. You understand? And who was the Council of Nicaea? The very people them who unalive Jesus. The Romans, white people, the people who also enslave Christ's people. It's hard to listen to, you know, it's hard to hear, and you can't deny what we are saying. What we're saying at the I.S.U.P.K is undeniable, unrefutable. But a selfish mind, and we realize that, you know what I mean, and this is no knocking at our brothers and sisters in Christianity, but you have to shed yourself of this spirit that comes with the Christianity. A selfish and unsincere mind will hear all of this and still go back to serving Christianity. That is what you call a hypocrite. You understand? Let me continue reading. The council was convened by Emperor Constantine as the first World Council of the Christian Church. I want to listen, you know. This is the Christian church. We know you're in your church today and you say you want to separate yourself from this. Right? You cannot separate yourself from this. This is the origin of Christianity. You cannot separate yourself from this. This is the reason why you celebrate Easter. You celebrate Easter and yet still you want to separate from this. You cannot. It is impossible. You worship on a Sunday and you want to celebrate, you know what I mean? Separate from this. You cannot. You think Jesus is God Almighty in the flesh, which he is not according to the Bible. But you want to separate from this? You cannot. All of that doctrine came from this. This is where you get that from. You and this is one in the same. You understand? You think Mary never had sex and Jesus was born through, you know what I mean, a womb that never had sex, that, you know, Jesus never have an earthly father. If you think that, this is where it comes from. They created that doctrine. You cannot separate. You and this is one in the same. This is what you are. And this is what killed Christ. And this is what enslaved our people. We are Jesus' people. We are blood relatives to Jesus. You understand? If you are a part of Christianity, you are a traitor to Christ. And there's no other way to put it. All right, let me continue reading. The council was convened by Emperor Constantine as the first World Council of the Christian Church, which marked an important turning point in the church history and in world history as well. Jesus established the Passover as the new covenant, saying, I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. But this truth disappeared from history. Let's review the church history. All right. Change of the new covenant, Passover. Jesus had the Holy Supper, you know what I mean, and the Passover. No, what is this? He's talking about the Lord's Supper. You know what I mean? All of Christendom, see, know about the Last Supper. See? Not knowing that it was the Passover. There's no, you know what I mean, term in the Bible called the Last Supper. Christianity kind of term, you know what I mean, to cover up the fact that this was the Passover that Christ was keeping. Let me jump to the scripture. See? I jump to the book of Matthew 26 and 17. And it said, and put it on the screen. Matthew chapter 26 and 17, it said, now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And of course, we know the story. Christ said to them, Christ said to them, look, go to such and such a place, you will see a donkey, loose him, and when the owner of the house come out, you tell him that my master need this place to keep the Passover. Who remember that? Christ kept the Passover. No, at the Passover now, when he was round the table, and at the Passover, him say, one of you shall betray me. And it was Judas. See? That was at the Passover. In the upper room that the Christian church love to use these, you know what I mean, terms of upper room, the Last Supper. And it was the Passover. And this is the game, the mind game that the Christian church play on you and your ignorance. When it is clear, you understand that this was what Christ was doing, celebrating the Passover. And this is what Christ told them at the Passover table. You see that famous picture that them paint to be a white people sitting at the table and you have the 12 disciples. They look like me and look, but the Romans make sure them painted to depict themselves. When it was not them, they were the ones that unalive these people. You understand? 1 Corinthians 11 and 24. And when he had given thanks, he break it, which is the bread. See? And this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. No, yeah, stripped on people's tongue, or you know what I mean, them doing some God-forsaken thing inside of that church. You know what I mean? In remembrance of Christ. When Christ was talking about the Passover, keep the remembrance of me. Just like what Exodus said before, keep this an ordinance forever. Let me jump back to Exodus. Remember, tap up the screen, share, like, subscribe, depending on the platform you're watching. 1 second. And if you have questions, feel free to leave it in the chat. See? Exodus chapter 12 and verse 14 said, ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. And that is the reason why Christ kept the law and Christ Passover. You understand? But in 325 AD, you're Christian to a pagan holiday called Ishtar or Easter. And you celebrate it and you run up and down in that Christian church, foaming at the mouth, jumping up and down, clear Empire fest, you know what I mean, recalling not his death, but his resurrection. At root, Easter is an ancient pagan fertility celebration and nothing to do with the practice of the early church. Right. So Easter is an early fertility pagan custom, which goes back to Babylon. You understand? It goes back straight to Babylon. And the oppressor through the Roman Empire adapted it and called it something else. You understand? And because the oppressors are pagans and they can't relate to the Bible any at all because this was not their culture. Their new religion, you know what I mean, that they created, they needed to add some of these pagan customs in it. And the only way they could do it is to substitute out some of the customs that they have, you know what I mean, stolen from the Bible. So them swap out the Passover and make it now Ishtar worship or Easter. Or not the winter solstice. What's it called again? It has slipped me right now. See? And they are getting ready to celebrate Easter now. Easter is right on the corner. You understand? So this is how the Passover was replaced. You know what I mean? During the Council of Nicaea. You understand? All right. Again, if you don't have questions, just leave it in the chat, all right? And the Bible mentioned this Queen of Heaven, which is Ishtar. She was also called the Queen of Heaven. You know what I mean? I have an article, but I not have in front of me now, which also tell you that Easter is also once called the Queen of Heaven. Today, she is now the Virgin Mary in Christianity. You know what I mean? This is what she represents. She is the Virgin Mary, or the so-called Mother of God, the Queen of Heaven. You get what I say? When the Most High never tell you, say, him have a queen beside him. You understand? This is what them worship in the Christian church. That is what Christianity, this is the Virgin Mary. You understand? All right. This is Jeremiah 7 and 18, and it says, the children gather wood, and the father kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven. Right. So this was when we were rebelling against the Most High, and we were following the customs of the heathens, worshiping the Queen of Heaven, worshiping this abomination. You understand? And to pour out drink offering unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. These things provoke the Most High to anger. If you wonder why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are in the condition that we are in today, it's because these practices provoke the Most High to anger. You understand? It's not like we never know. We read the Bible and see that the Most High can be provoked. And then when we look around and see the destruction around us, we don't think to ourselves that maybe the Most High is being provoked. Maybe we are provoking the Most High to do these things. The death and the destruction around us, we never consider it because of Christianity. We never consider that maybe it's God doing this. Maybe God is not pleased with us. You know what I mean? And we go deeper and deeper into Christianity and things get worse and worse. And then it never occurred to us that maybe Christianity is not the right way. Maybe God is displeased with Christianity. We never ever make that cross our mind because of the brainwashing inside of that place. You understand? When this provoked the Most High to anger, there's unalivement in your community, there's poverty, there's destruction, there's curses because you are Christians. And God hates Christianity. He never give you no Christianity. He gave you a covenant to follow as the children of Israel, to keep his laws. You understand? See? 1 second. All right, sir. I see a message. All right, kind of one cancer. Zin, Christianity is the thing that provokes the Most High, because the Most High did not give you Christianity. The oppressor did. You understand? Let me read that again. Jeremiah chapter 17 and 7 and verse 18. And it said, the children gather wood, and the father kindle fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven. And here in Jamaica, this is close to home, because the Easter bun where you see we eat during the time of Easter was these cakes. These are the cakes. This is the same practice. That's why them sell Easter bun and cheese, sell off during this period. And nobody ever said, well, where did this come from? We don't ask them questions. And we now completely come down on our people. See? The blame is on the Christian church and the oppressor. Because our people are come out of slavery, we don't know nothing. What we learned say these were ancient practices. Ancient pagan practices. All we did for know that. We couldn't know that. As far as our people concerned, Easter bun tastes good. When Easter bun, you know what I mean, is you baking the cakes to the Queen of Heaven. That's why Easter bun, you know what I mean, sell mostly. And it surrounded the celebration of Easter. You understand? That is the purpose. Nothing is by accident. Everything is, you know what I mean, it have an origin and it's deliberate. You're not living in some accidental world. Everything have a consequence. Everything have a purpose. You understand? And everybody have a duty. And our duty is to serve the Most High. Serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our forefathers. We are the children of Israel in the Bible. That is us. That is our bloodline. That is our family lineage. We are the chosen people of God. And if we don't put on that, you know what I mean? If we don't put on that title, then what are we? We are nothing. Nothing at all. Because there is no other culture we can pick up. So we are trying to tie ourselves to the Africans there. Come to find out, the Africans were the ones that sold us into slavery. Sold us to the oppressor. We brought out the other day, oh, the oppressor did not march into no Africa and capture nobody. He pull up on the coast of Africa and bought people that was already captured. The Africans were selling people. That's why Africa was the best place to find slaves, because Africans were selling slaves. And they were selling the same people who they enslaved thousands of years before in Egypt. We are very familiar with these ugly, disgusting people. And we are not friends and we are not families with them. They are our enemies the same way how the oppressor is our enemy. Stop trying to tie yourself with these disgusting people. They are not like you. You are better than them. Why would you diminish yourself to be an African when you are God's chosen people? God no know no African. They feed them God at voodoo and obi and wamba and madness. That's the only spirituality them know. When the God that created this planet have a deal, a covenant with us. We are in authority, not them, not the oppressor. We are the authority of this earth. But yet still we want to relegate ourselves to be some doodle eating African, some bush meat, you know what I mean, filthy, naked, running, you know what I mean? Why we want to be them? What is so glorious about being them? Only a destroyed person would want to be that. And that is the reason why we come down so hard upon Rastafariism too. Because they want relegating you to be some uncivilized people and saying that this is your true culture. Our true culture is to rule this earth. We are talking about. Our true culture is civilizedness. We are not animals. Only animals run up and down naked. Let me continue. See? That they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? And that is what we are experiencing right now. So most of you say, think of me or this, or not this in yourself. And so you know how black people write this. Most of you say, I mean, them provoke or themselves. They provoke themselves. Because look how we know. Confused. So they are talking about, we are who? We have to have this long discussion. No, we are Moors. We are Moors. We are Africans. No, man. No, we are the Israelites. We're confused. We don't know who he is. And that is why this talk about we. Because where's the African record that told you that you wouldn't know who you are? The Bible tell you, say you wouldn't know who you are. Where is the Moorish record that say you shall be discontinued from your heritage? Where is the African record that say you would have gone into slavery by the means of slave ships? It don't exist. There's no knowledge to be gained from these other culture. Only the Hebrew culture have information that can benefit our people. And that is the Bible. This is the only breadcrumb that we have to find our way back. The Bible, which was misrepresented through Christianity. So now guess what we need to do? We need to get rid of Christianity and take up the Bible. And you need to get inside the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General YAHANNA and come learn the right way. You understand? Learn your history. Learn who you are, what is your purpose, and become great again. You have Donald Trump right now a fight for the greatness of white people right now. Now is a time of war, you know? And you better understand. Donald Trump, racist Donald Trump, he must fight for the greatness of him people, of the oppressor, our enemies. Now, where do you think you lie in all of that? Where you fit in? So if white people have to become great again, what have to happen to you? You better wake up. Well, here in the I.S.U.P.K and the commanding General YAHANNA is where black people become great again. Where Hispanic become great again. Where Native Indians become great again. Where the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, God chosen people, become great again. We are the buffer. We are the defense to what is coming. There's nothing else. Nothing at all. Everything else are weak fence. We are the one putting up resistance. We are the resistance. Black people never have a strong resistance before. Commanding General YAHANNA is that. We are the one waking you up out of the matrix. You understand? We are the one telling you what is taking place. We are the one giving you the real news without the conspiracy. See? We are the ones that is showing you the history and breaking it down. Nobody else is doing it. Everybody else is smoking weed and telling you that you should get high. We are the ones getting you to come off a weed and to become sober again. You understand? We are the ones putting you back in your right mind again. It's the I.S.U.P.K and the commanding General YAHANNA. Nobody else. You understand? And we say that boldly, without apology, because that is the truth. Our motto is the home of the truth. The I.S.U.P.K, the home of the truth. This is the truth. You understand? All right. What we are going to do now? We're going to show you where the Pope, these same people who created Christianity and changed the Bible's doctrine during the Council of Nicaea. See? We're going to show you that they are the ones that put it out on you to be enslaved. I'll show you now. See? It said in 1452, Pope Nicholas V charged Alfonso of Portugal with the Christian duty to enslave any non-Christian. This is the beginning of slavery. Tap up the screen, share this around. More everybody hear this. Tag your Rastafari brethren, tag your Christian mother, your Christian father, your Christian granny. Everybody just tag them. Tag them in this video. We're going to show you where slavery come from. You're in the church singing and praising to Jesus in Christianity. Well, we're going to show you who enslaved you. I would been saying it. We said class after class after class. Christianity enslaved you. Christianity enslaved you. And the Christians, them come up in the box and them talk them crap and them go on the most way. You know what I mean? Well, this is the proof. You understand? Are one of the many proofs. Let me read again. Tag everybody. We want everybody see this. You know what I mean? Because here what? If all of Jamaica get to see where we are here where we are teaching a road boy, the thing done, you know. Even the ones that we are disagreeing now, I have to go submit, you know, because guess what? This information bigger than them, because they can't refute it. If all of Jamaica hear this, it's done. Probably Christ come back, you know what I mean, next week. You understand? Tag everybody, you know. We are read some valuable information. And big up to Officer Abadawan for bringing out this information in a few Sundays ago class. You know what I mean? Let me read it again. In 1452, Pope Nicholas V charged Alfonso of Portugal with the Christian duty to enslave any non-Christian. The Pope's Act would be the first recorded international edict to literally grant a Christian nation the right to promote, enforce, and heavily profit from slave trading. Right, the first Christian nation, because before that, it was the Africans enslaving, you know what I mean, the Israelites. We were inside of them land, and then did that enslave we. And now the Pope was the king of all white people. Let me just tell you that straight. See? And religion and Christianity was the religion of white people. See? Them see how you know what I mean, they were benefited of slavery and they make it an international edict. Like this is the way to go. Like, you know, when somebody, there's a new way I call it now. Like, who remember the cryptocurrency era when cryptocurrency and Bitcoin was being, you know what I mean, bought and sold and it becoming the new thing. Well, slavery is now becoming the new thing for all of them make money. The Africans them was reaping the benefit. And now this oppressor saw that, well, we can reap a benefit of it too. Especially him knowing who we are, because he was the one who destroyed our homeland. The same oppressor, the same Romans. After them unalive Jesus, guess what them do? Them destroy Jerusalem. And that's how we end up in Africa. We fled down in Africa. And now them see an opportunity and them take it. And the Africans was more than willing to help. You understand? It said the Pope's Act would be the first recorded international edict to literally grant a Christian nation the right to promote, enforce, and heavily profit from slave trading. Decades later, Pope Alexander VI beckoned Christian monarchs to conquer native populations in the name of the Catholic Church. So Christopher Columbus did not come here upon his own. See? The church, the Christian church that you sit down in and a worship and a sing, them give him the order to enslave you. The religion. I mean, know you're going to say, well, my pastor never do that. And our church different, like a big blinking buffoon. Virgin, just if you can understand it, understand. Zin, Christianity started here. It was the reason why your people are enslaved. Today you are worshiping in Christianity, claiming that you are not this. That makes no sense. Why not just take yourself out of Christianity? Seeing that Christianity have the blood of your people upon its shoulder. No found in now get it. So that Christianity, the witchcraft of Christianity too strong. No found in now get it. No found now reject it. And part of that, partly, mostly, Slakia, is because Christianity is really white supremacy. Like we'll show you countless times. Because now we are telling you that the oppressor is the enemy. And that is like, you know what I mean, that trigger a defense mechanism in all of Christianity. Like, Christianity is all about loving the oppressor. That white Jesus is so imprinted in the mind of our people that if you ever mention slavery and mention, you know what I mean, the crimes of white people, Christians get activated. You can't teach them nothing more. And it's understandable. But for those who, you know what I mean, have not been, you know what I mean, so entrenched in the madness of Christianity, I want to make that. I know for the most part, most Christians unite for the love of the oppressor. And the love of them lost and the love of sin. And now go come out. But for those, the innocent who are inside the Christian church, who really believe that this is the place that God dwelleth, it is not. You need to leave out of that place. And the most I have been showing you signs after signs after signs. The most recent sign is that Christian pastor in the United States who extorted the people, telling the ushers to lock the door so it can extort. When you're still in a church, a couple of years ago, it was Kevin Smith who analyzed a couple of when you're still in the church. The most I even make the river wash one of them in them are baptized, so when you're still in the church. The most I keep shaming Christianity and when you're still in the church. Well, guess what? You might shame Uno too. Uno have to be ashamed too. Now I get shame, the ultimate shame with Christianity. You understand? Just stay in there. The most I show you signs after signs that he's not with the Christian church. And because of your lust and the lies that Christianity give you to sin, because we tell us you can't eat pork. Which, you know what I mean? Eating pork is a sin. And you love that swine so much. You rather, you know what I mean, be at the wrong side of the Most High than stop eating swine. And that is the spirit of Christians, all right. Christians don't even take them Christianity serious. Like, the more I reason with Christians, the more I say, Christians are the fools of society. The people who don't even take life serious. They only take them belly and them lust serious. They only inside of the church out of, you know what I mean, fear because them believe say God are going to protect them in us. So meanwhile, them are the wickedest people on the face of Christians are the most wickedest people on the face of the earth who portray themselves as being righteous. Wicked. Just listen to them speak. Christianity is where wicked people go to dwell, Bridget. And if you stay in there long enough, you become the most horrible person upon the face of the earth, different from the oppressor. You take on that oppressor spirit. Christians are the ones that these workplaces put in charge of these billion-dollar companies so that they can rip you off and you know what I mean, shorten your wages. Those are Christians. Those are churchgoers. Those are people who stand up, you know what I mean, at the front of the church every Sunday and worship Jesus and then come back by the slavery and short change you. You understand? That is Christianity. The spirit in Christianity is a very evil one. Christians are the gatekeeper for this empire. They are the ones that the oppressor entrusts to oversee Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people who are the slaves. A Christian make a good slave. And this is not my words. This is the words of the oppressors, the white supremacists back in the past, in a book called the Black Image in the White Mind. These racist oppressors say a Christian Black person makes the best slave. And that is what you are, Christians. That is what they call you. You are the best slaves. And you prove it every day when we interact with them every day. We see it. We see it in our own. We see the sellout nature in our own. We don't hate Black people. Christians. Christians are like white supremacists walking about. And again, we're going to get all the positions in the workplace. And that is why the workplaces are so oppressive, because we're not willing